Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is a faith and lifestyle based channel, and occasionally we have career conversations. Thank you to everyone who's continued to support the channel and has subscribed. Thank you for your patience and your continued support. For those who are new, I hope you enjoy what you see, and if you do, you know what to do. Subscribe. Today, we have a very special guest. I'm quite excited. A former mentor, friend, big sister, but we'll get into the conversation. So I hope that you will take away some nuggets of wisdom and that the conversation will serve to encourage the next person who's pursuing the same kind of journey, or just curious about how other people are navigating life. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. So Missy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, everybody. All the viewers of this wonderful channel. Thank you, Palisa, for hosting me. Quite exciting to be part of this journey. So my name is Nonkululeko Sigudu, known as Nonku to most people. Formerly Shezi, for those who might not identify with Sigudu. I did get married. So yeah, I'm very happy to be here today.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I was actually just thinking this morning, I met Nonku through her former employer, my current employer.
Yes.
And we weren't working in the same team. She wasn't my line manager, but we happened to have these informal catch-ups and conversations. I had a situation where my employer needed to pay off my bursary from school, because they had bought me out of it, and they weren't moving with the speed that I wanted them to move with. And I was worried, like, what if I get blacklisted or something happens and I don't have a cent to my name? So I went to her. I remember this one day at work. I went to her, and I was saying, I'm stressed. This is the situation. Can someone just help me? And she rushed over. She was like, let's go. We went to speak to HR. We went to speak to the relevant people. And within a week, my situation that I had been following up on for some time was resolved. And that's the heart of Nonku. That was one of my first encounters with her. And the relationship continued in that manner. So, pouring into others, speaking life, trying to help, even though she didn't owe me anything, and she wasn't obligated. And that stuck with me for a long time. Wow. That was like over 7 years ago. But I remember that specific encounter. So we're going to get into the conversation. Like I said, we're just going to be hearing from her, sharing on her journey, and any other things that she'd like to share with you. So can you tell us a little bit about your career journey from the time you left school up until now?
Wow. That's a very long time. So, wow, I left school. How many years ago now was that? Sheesh, it was 23 years ago.
Wow.
Yes, so I am 40 now. I know I like talking about that these days because a lot of people don't believe that I'm 40.
Yeah, yeah.
So I am 40. I've just turned 40 4 months ago. When I left school, it's interesting that you asked me that because I really think I didn't know what I really wanted to do. But what one was driven by, I think the plight of a black child. You are driven by, you want to do something better than what your parents have done.
Yeah.
So you want to achieve something. Fortunately for me, my mom and dad were a bit learned. My mom was a teacher and my dad was a warehouse manager at Teljoy. So, they were professionals in their own right. So I was good in math and accounting, and automatically you get boxed into, or you can do
you're going to be a CA.
You're going to be a CA or an engineer or a doctor. So those are the parts that were set before me. And I remember at some point, I thought I wanted to be an engineer. What was I thinking?
I can't picture you.
Exactly. Now that I have worked in factory setups in my career, I always look at engineers and think, firstly, I don't want to be dirty. I'm not saying engineers are dirty, but you do get to
Manual labor.
Sometimes there's maintenance and that sort of thing. What inspired me to become a CA, our school was very blessed to have the old girls coming back to tell their story. So these two ladies came back one day, and I was in matric, and they were telling us about the board exam, and I didn't know what on earth that was. And our guidance teacher, which is now called LO, it was called guidance 23 years ago, back then. And she said to me, Nonku, I think, you're quite good at accounting, and I enjoyed it. And she said to me, I really think that you should study accounting, and CAs have a lot of money. Another myth, which we will talk about later. A big myth. They tell you become a CA, you'll have a lot of money. Rich. For me, the determining factor was getting a bursary. I wanted to choose studying something that will earn me a bursary. So, it had to be either engineering or accounting or medicine. So those are the fields that attract bursaries most of the time. That was my biggest motivator, because I knew my parents couldn't afford to put me through university comfortably. So then I got a bursary from Deloitte and Touche. It wasn't even Deloitte then. It was Deloitte and Touche. And it was exciting. Got to varsity. Oh my gosh. Big shock. Managed to get through. And then I started my articles, I remember. And oh my gosh, bigger shock. For the first time in my life, Balisa, I had acne. I had never had a skin problem. But that's just how stressed out I was by being in this environment that was so different and daunting and intimidating, because the big, as we used to call them then, the big four firms, no longer the big four anymore, but the accounting firms are there to produce CAs. And everyone walks around, from partner to senior manager to new manager. They're all CAs. So you there, the one thing that I look back on is that I needed to have had a mentor then. And I didn't have one. So I always say that what was the differentiator between the black trainee and the white trainee in retrospect is that we went in not having interacted with a CA like this. Maybe in the form of an uncle or a cousin or a sister or a parent. The white trainees went in already with the benefit or advantage of they have sat across a dinner table with an uncle who's a CEO of whatever, and maybe they are a CA, or the mother is a CA, or the cousin, but somebody in the family,
they've got a network.
Friends, is a CA, and they are used to speaking the corporate language. So we got there and we started hearing, take it and run with it, things like that.
Like, what does that even mean?
Nip it in the bud. So, we laugh about it now. Those are all new terms for us black kids. And the other disadvantage is how we are raised. We are not, unfortunately, maybe in my generation, we were not raised to be confident and speak up and stand up for yourself. You are taught if an elder says something, you must just respectfully say yes, don't disagree with them. And for some of my colleagues or my peers, they were taught to even not look at at an elder in the eye, which became a problem for us in training. I remember there was an incident where one manager thought, Bafana doesn't even look at me in the eye. I think he's hiding something.
But it's a respect thing, cultural dynamics.
It's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
It's a diversity thing. So those are some of, the trickeries that I experienced during training. And I look back and I think, why did I not reach out because I did know a CA. There was a girl from my school who was ahead of me, who had become a CA. Why on earth did I not ask her to become my mentor at the time? She later became my mentor, but if she had been one when I started... From the start
of the journey.
Yeah, it would have made my journey so different. I would not have gone through everything that I went through. And a lot of it was quite negative. I walked out of articles with a very low self-esteem, with a low confidence, feeling I was incompetent. I don't need to be a CA. I almost really gave up. So I'm just touching on that because it's something that really impacted my journey. And it didn't help that I wasn't getting through the board exams. So I wrote the first part of the board exam 5 times. They give you 5 attempts. I used all of them.
The attempts.
I used all of them. And again, I had come from a background of I was a straight A student, got through varsity fine, here I am now, I'm failing an exam
What's
so
the
many
story?
times. It was just saying so many things to me.
Okay, so you were sharing about your post articles journey and how you were filled with a lot of negative emotions. Tell us about that.
I think, as I mentioned, that for me, not obviously, that sounds a bit funny. For me to earn a bursary, it meant that I was excelling academically. So you then expect that for the rest of your life,
You'll continue to
you
thrive.
will just continue to thrive. You'll do something, you'll get an A for it. If not an A, at least a B, or fall on a C. But you don't expect that you will fail.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the board exam. So there were two things, I think, at Deloitte, or the one thing that really made me struggle is that I wasn't passing the board exam that I was there to pass. Remember, I had said auditing firms are about producing CAs.
Yeah.
So I get there in the 3 years, I'm not getting through the exam. And the sad thing is that when I failed it the first time, it felt okay.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends had failed. So we're
Yeah,
like, ha, ha,
it's
ha,
normal.
guys, wow, we failed.
Yeah.
We'll try again next year.
Yeah.
And we tried the following year. Now, some of my friends
Now they're
passed.
progressing.
Now they're progressing. And the worst thing, we're now writing this exam with some of the trainees who are first years just coming in, and I'm their senior on the job, and yet we're writing this exam. So it's getting awkward. Then I failed it. And third year, it was even more awkward because now I'm audit senior. I'm leading the team in audit. And yet the juniors have passed the board exam.
Yeah.
I think one of them was even in the top 10. So embarrassing.
Yo. Yeah.
So that started chipping away at my confidence.
Yeah.
Started chipping away at who I thought I was and what I stood for, because I realized my whole 20s were really marked by me becoming a CA. I'll even say things like, I don't want to get married until I'm a CA. It was really such a big deal for me.
Yeah.
In that if someone had approached me for marriage, I would have said no.
Yeah.
Because it really meant everything.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And then the negative experiences that came with that, how certain managers treated me.
Yeah.
Because
like you less than.
I didn't pass the board exam.
You're not showing up.
It would become a factor in how you were rated, sometimes even in your performance.
Yo.
Yes, it did. Some people took it that far. And this is the truth that maybe we don't speak about, but it really, really, it damaged my articles, my esteem, and how I just perceived the whole experience. So that was that, and Transnet.
Yeah,
assisted
maybe before
me.
you move, sorry to cut you. What would you say as a piece of advice to many aspiring CAs? We see them posting to say, yay, I've passed first attempt. Some are even transparent, something that I've seen on Twitter. People saying, I went for my first attempt, it wasn't so successful, but I'm going to continue at it. I still have this dream. Any words of encouragement or anything that you've learned, maybe even in retrospect, from your own journey, trying to pass the exam, but having struggles with it?
I think, firstly, there's one thing we do as humans, of attaching. We like to attach time to everything that we do.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a manager by 25.
Yeah.
Why does
Then you
this
have that
matter?
aspiration, like,
Because
I must be by 24.
What this does, it says to the next person, oh, if I'm not a manager by 25, then I have failed.
Yeah.
So I really dislike that time
Yeah. Yeah.
factor
Yeah.
that we tend to raise so much as people. Understanding that things work out differently for ourselves. And as I grew, I started understanding that my journey is not going to be the same as Balisa's journey, for example. We could both have come from the same university or from the same high school. We were both, A students, but it doesn't mean that I will become a CA when Balisa becomes a CA or be promoted when she is promoted. And I need to learn to be happy for her when that is happening, because tomorrow it will be my turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the first thing. We are bombarded with social media. So you cannot run away though from, oh, I passed the first time. And how that can just punch your heart when you have
when you haven't
passed. It's really hurtful. In some job interviews, the recruiter will say, well, the client wants to know on which attempt you passed, your board
Why does it
exam.
even matter? You're
Yes.
qualified now.
And I used to say, it means this company then is not for me.
Yeah.
I don't care who they are. If that is the basis they're using to hire me, then they're not the people that I should work with, because you cannot measure somebody by an exam.
Yeah.
Some people just have very good exam technique. They'll get it right. People like me, it took me a bit long to figure out the technique to answer the exam for the marker.
Yeah.
And hence, those are some of the lessons that came out for me. But I would say, if you haven't passed, firstly, it doesn't, you see, being a CA is not who I am.
Yeah.
It's what I do. It's a job. So
Yeah.
I don't define myself. When I said who I am, I didn't say I'm Nonku, the CA.
CA. CASA.
Those are just 4 letters after my name as
Yeah.
a profession, as a qualification.
Yeah.
But it's not who I am.
Yeah.
So firstly, it will really help if we stopped identifying ourselves through what we do.
Yeah.
Okay? And also understand that time and chance, really, as Solomon said, happens to everybody. It does. That is just life. You can't, sadly, you can't influence it. You can't. And just be at peace and know and trust that really the plan of God for your life is perfect.
Amen.
I think that's what we really need to, and I know I'm talking to you as a believer, that's what we really need to understand and take the lesson then of, why did I not pass?
Yeah.
That's very important. I think I did that work after I had failed in the 4th attempt. That's when I requested my script from Saika to say, I want to see what is it that I'm really writing for me to fail 4 times.
Yeah.
And I was able to see that, oh my gosh, I had actually almost passed. It encouraged me to see I had gotten 44% the previous year. I'm almost there, so it's not as dire as I thought it was, because I thought, oh my gosh, it means I'm just scoring 20% for this exam, because you don't get a mark. You just get, you pass
or
you
fail. End of story.
And if you're in the top 10, they let you know everybody else is number 11, as we always joke.
Yeah.
So those are some of the practical things. Then find out, ask for your script, go through it, find somebody who maybe has passed it, or who you know is a lecturer and they're quite good, they can assist you. Prepare for the exam. Make sure you learn the tricks of how to answer for it. There's so much that's available out there as assistance for people who have not passed the board exam.
Yeah.
But I think that's what I'll say. Firstly, don't identify yourself through the board exam.
Yeah.
Because you will crash and burn.
Yeah.
Or maybe some people could even be suicidal. Yeah.
Your worth is not tied to your output.
It's not at all. It's just an exam, and you are not this exam.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's
I love
what I
that.
will say. Yeah.
Okay. You were telling us about Transnet.
Yes. So I moved to Transnet, very Afrikaans place. The one thing I learned about Afrikaans people is that they're quite straightforward. If they like you, you know. If they don't, they tell you to your face. They will not backstab you or gossip about you, which was nice, because then you engage with people authentically.
You know where you stand.
Yes, you know where you stand. If, you know, Suzette doesn't like you, you know Suzette doesn't like you, you stay away from them, or whatever, you try to mend the relationship. So I enjoyed it. I was in a space, I was like the baby of the team. I was young, and there was no pressure.
Yeah.
There was just none of this professional CA pressure now of, oh, you need to be a CA. People were just happy for me that I had come out of articles. I had an honors degree. I remember my boss, the CFO, because I was employed within a small PTY of the division of Transnet Rail Engineering. She wasn't a CA. So already it just
Relief,
all
like,
this
okay,
pressure.
people
But
are thriving.
She encouraged me, and she'll say, but Nonku, you know what, it's fine, don't put yourself under so much pressure, you'll get this thing right. So it was no longer so detrimental for me not to be a CA, just by being removed from that environment. It taught me that we are really as good as the environment that we are in. Maybe more so for other people than some. I know for me, I can be quite affected by my environment.
Yeah.
If you put me in a hostile environment, I don't respond quite well to it. But I always need to be where, you know, it's
homely, nurturing. Yeah.
You know, Nonku, you can do this. There's encouragement. So I do well there.
Yeah.
And that's the type of support that I give to young people like yourself as well. Because I know what it takes for me to do well. Yeah. So Transnet was awesome. And moved back to Durban, like I had mentioned, for love. Yes. I don't think my parents knew, but anyway, so I moved back for love because I believed, oh my gosh, we're going to get married with this guy. I was so in love. This was it. And he was also a CA, so it was the CA powerhouse type of a thing. So I thought.
Power couple.
Yes, power couple. And you would let such ideologies fill your head sometimes. You don't need to be a power couple. You just need to love each other. So I moved back and I joined an amazing team of Tonga Chilet, where it was very homely as well. Within the mill in Tongat, quite loved it. Met people that I'm still in touch with today. My Hewlett boss, Glora Mapumulo, is still my friend.
Yeah.
And I was so worried about reporting to a black female. I remember when I found out that this position, because I was hired as a business analyst, that it reports into a black female. I thought, oh my God.
Going to be hardcore.
Alive. Because some black females, unfortunately, I think it's the pressure maybe of the position.
Yeah.
Because it's quite hard to be senior in a male-dominated white environment.
Yeah.
You then exhibit, this
You want to show your strength.
Yes, but in a negative way. You also want to come out a bit masculine or whatever it is. I don't know. But I was quite worried about her. And she surprised me. She was just she was like my aunt. Like my big sister, Nonku, okay, this is what, you're going to be doing. This is how you do it. Don't worry. And there were a lot of, systems that needed to be put in place. So she allowed me to come up with new ideas to say, I've been thinking, can we do it like this? Can we do it like this? She really did not limit me. And it didn't make her feel less just because there was this young girl now coming in. And, I had done articles, she hadn't, which meant I was going to be a CA and she really wasn't a CA at all. But she was quite content about her life and quite impressed with herself about how and what she had achieved, because she had come in as a junior at Hewlett and had worked her way up.
Yeah.
So it helped me understand that even when I am, I have other junior women reporting to me, that is what I should be like to them.
Walk
Be
in
the
your
big
own
sister.
purpose
Be
and
a person
your own path.
and not be this corporate monster, Be identifiable with. I think that's what I took away with working with Gloria. But I don't call her Gloria anyway. I call her Sis Gloria because she's older than me. So
Respect.
Yeah, I respect her so much, and I've really kept her in my life up until now.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate. When you mentioned that you were worried that, you're going to be reporting into a black woman. I think a lot of people share the same sentiment.
Yeah.
Black women in general, we are also perceived as aggressive just by being, you know. So there's so many stereotypes, informed, of course, by people's lived experiences. So I really hope that, through engaging with people like yourself, the aura that you bring, wanting to emulate that in my own journey, so that the next person doesn't feel like, that's the worst experience I had reporting into that person. They put me down, they didn't pour into my career or whatever it is, because we're all just trying to navigate life,
We are.
The person wants a fulfilling career experience, and so do I. I don't have to make it like awkward for the next person.
Yeah. And I always say that I think where people get it wrong is address the issue.
Yeah. Not the
Not
person.
break down the person.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we do sometimes to each other as black people. We want to
Put you in your
it's
place.
An insecurity that, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, Balisa might outshine me, and then what's going to happen to me? Instead of looking at it in a positive way to say, Balisa could do really well and be ahead of me. And the nice thing is then that I'll become part of her story. That I've groomed her, I've guided her, and then Balisa can go and do the same thing for other people.
Yeah.
If we were to look at it that way, it could become such a powerful thing.
Yeah, you're planting a seed.
Instead
you're
of
watering
being,
a seed
it's
in
really
someone
an
else's journey.
insecurity, why people behave the way that they behave in corporate.
Yeah.
That's just my conclusion.
Sure. Powerful stuff. And then what happened in your journey?
So that was Hewlett's, and then the relationship fell apart.
Yikes.
I actually had gotten engaged. And yeah, and maybe I do want to talk about what I struggled with in that.
Yeah.
Because I really struggled to let go of this dysfunctional relationship, because it did become dysfunctional. By the time I ended it, all my friends were like, really, Nonku?
Get it together.
When are you dumping this guy? Because he wasn't treating me well. Again, it was just a number of things. How I saw myself, because how you allow somebody to treat you is a reflection of how you see yourself.
Yeah.
So
Your
if
own
I
work.
allow you to treat me bad, it means this, I'm saying
You've
this
deemed
is
it
what-
as acceptable.
This is what I deserve.
Yeah.
Mina, as Nonku, this is where I am. And it was also a pressure of being a church girl like yourself, of saying, I'm almost 30, I need to be married. Oh my gosh, so this guy has paid lobola for me, so I need to put up with everything that he's doing because I need to be married. I must now perform. I mustn't disappoint the people. And it really took a lot out of me to get to a point where I could allow my mind to override my heart, to say, I'm walking out of this thing.
Yeah.
And thank God it also took spiritual intervention, because sometimes you can really be lost in the church.
Yeah,
Whilst
with no
you are the
guidance,
church
no
girl,
support.
just be lost. Corner lie. You come into church every Sunday or Saturday, but just be very lost in that. I was invited to a camp, a ladies' camp run by another church. And I think it just put me in a space where I could be vulnerable without the people that I know, maybe from my own church.
No fear of judgment.
And no fear of judgment, to allow the word of God to just really convict me to say, Nonku, firstly, I was in an ungodly relationship and I knew that. But I was just determined that, oh my gosh.
It has to work. We are a power couple.
This thing. This thing is going to work. And it really didn't work. It compromised me a lot because I was unequally yoked with this guy. And attending that camp, I always say it gave me strength to come back and say, okay, I'm actually going to get out of this thing.
Yeah.
And in my nature, I'm very slow sometimes to execute. I still took a few months. But eventually when I did say,
enough is enough.
This is it, I'm walking out. That was that. I walked out, and 4 months after that, I got another job in Johannesburg. I was out of KZN.
Yeah.
Because I felt
that phase is over now.
If it wasn't for this guy anyway, I would never have come back to Durban. I would have stayed in Johannesburg. So then I joined L'Oreal Manufacturing in Midrand. What an amazing time. In my first month, I got to travel to Paris for training. So
come through.
Yeah, so it helped me because, there I was with my wounded heart and all that. But I was in Paris now. And just look at how gracious God
If you're going to
is
be
to
sad,
us.
you might as well be sad in Paris.
Yes, rather be sad in Paris than in Durban.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed L'Oreal quite a lot. French people are quite interesting to work with. Very meticulous people. So I learned through them that detail is everything. They'll say that detail, the devil's in the detail, Nonku. So I quite enjoyed that. But 18 months in, I always say that perhaps I went to Joburg to really just deal with my broken heart. Because the whole time I really grappled with, okay, it's over. Oh my God, I'm 30. I was like 31. Who am I going to meet? And
a new person now, and
and
start
what's
from
going to
scratch.
be their qualification? Oh my gosh, maybe they won't be so educated. And I had all these silly, invalid worries.
Yeah.
Instead of just trusting God with my life, that He knows my heart, He knows what I want, and the best will come through for me.
Yeah.
I did quite a lot of self-work whilst I was in Johannesburg. I attended a high-intensity, I'll call it a psychiatric boot camp or psychology boot camp that was run by a guy who was a psychiatrist. And again, this was recommended to me by a friend who could see that I was just
You were going
stuck.
through the most.
I was stuck. I had a mental rut that I couldn't move beyond this relationship, even though I had left it.
Yeah.
And after I came out of that, I realized that, I understood why we broke up. That really our purpose was just misaligned.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was not the guy, and I was okay with it. The one thing that I remember this guy said to me in one of the sessions, because it's quite brutal, he was like, Nonku, there are 7 billion people on this planet.
Why are you fixating
So
on
you
one?
just cannot get over one guy who doesn't love you. Come on, get over it. That was such a simple statement for him to make, but it was a sobering one to say, honestly, there are 7 billion people on the planet. Why don't I trust God that I will meet somebody again in the same manner as I had met this one person? So that was just a little personal lesson of surrender to God about what I wish for my love life, which was quite important. And I want to touch on this, that sometimes in the church, we can be quite mean to each other. And if there's, an older person listening to this, I really want us to stop putting young girls like you, Palisa, under pressure. Oh, Palisa Shatanini.
Undue pressure.
You can't
How
marry
do you
yourself,
even know
firstly.
what the person wants for
Somebody
themselves?
even said to me, it was very disappointing when I came back from Paris. And he was like, he was a junior pastor. He said to me, because I was telling him about Paris and what I saw and this, I was very excited. He said, Nonku, just don't forget that the biggest thing is you need to get married.
Hey! Paris aside, you need to get married.
Sanjay, just like that.
Marriage first.
Marriage first. What a silly comment to make to somebody, and how do you break someone down like that by a comment like that? Anyway, needless to say, I never spoke to them after that. So there's just these dynamics in the church, and we need to, I think what we need to do is help young people to become the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
Then when they meet the spouse, their person is meeting the best version of Balisa.
Yeah.
I think that's what we should contribute towards, not towards putting people under pressure for marriage.
Yeah.
So my time at L'Oreal ended after 18 months, and I was headhunted by Unilever, your current employer. And when it happened, firstly, I thought, it's only been 18 months at L'Oreal.
You just
too
got there.
soon.
Yeah.
And why am I going to go back to Durban now? And, I haven't met anybody. Now I'm going to see my ex with his new girlfriend and all that nonsense, And, I really just felt, I know now that was the voice of the Holy Spirit, because I just really felt something deep within me say, you must go for it.
Yeah.
And the fact that, who doesn't want to work at Unilever?
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Top employer.
Yes. Unilever is a dream for many people.
Yeah.
It's the best company to work for, especially within the Durban area.
Yeah.
So I thought, and it was an interesting role. And I was also at a point in my career where I thought, how much of month-end and budgeting and forecasting can I really do?
Yeah.
So this was an internal audit and risk manager for Africa. How exciting.
I know, right?
And I grabbed it because I had also mapped a little path for myself to say, okay, if I want to be the next finance director of CFO,
these are the experiences.
I need to add some risk management in my profile. And when that came on, I thought, no, this is God.
Yeah.
And I took it. There are many reasons why I came back to Durban when I did, in hindsight. I think one of them, 18 months into Unilever, my dad passed away. And I could be there for my mom. I was the only child out of the three. I was the only one who was in KZN at the time. So I could spend time with my mom.
Support.
In fact, I moved back home for 6 months. So I always look back to say it was really for me, because I was really close to my dad, to spend that last 18 months with him before he departed.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed Unilever. But I'm not saying this to you because you work there.
It's not an advert.
It's not an advert. I always say my best role was that risk role for Africa. I loved it. I loved traveling to the other African countries. The people were lovely, very warm, very receptive, and I could see the progress in the work that one was doing. One of my things is I really do want to see how I add value in a position or role that I'm in. I don't want to just be there and just be a number and, okay, fine, you've done your ice cream sheet or whatever it is. I want to know what value, and I could see, and the value that I added there was through relationship management. Because when I came in, the perception of audit by, I remember the FD of East Africa really had quite expressive words about how disappointed he was about audit not shaping up for him to have all the control breaking down in his division and all of that. And it really took me talking to this guy all the time for him to, one, know that I'm on to fixing what are his problems, which helps him meet his KPIs and so forth, and his bonus and salary. But also as a person, we developed a connection. I think people work best with people that they connect with.
Yeah.
Yeah? So it's not I saw something written on a truck yesterday that business is not made on transactions, it's built on relationships.
Yeah.
And as you get senior in your profession, you realize that your best asset is how you relate with other people.
Yeah.
The technical standards, it's a standard. Of course, you're supposed to know that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't set you apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what sets you apart then, is, your relationship management, being able to connect with other people, showing empathy, when someone is going through something. Not
Being
that
human.
That you should be Mother Teresa, but just be human with other people, be a sister.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're so scared to emulate a sisterhood within a work environment. There's nothing, at least for me, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Because we all know we're here to work, yes, but outside of that, just get to know Palisa. So where do you come from, Palisa? Tell me about your family. There's nothing wrong with asking people who report to you those questions.
Yeah.
What it does, when Palisa emulates a certain behavior, it helps you understand why, firstly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it helps you to be able to know how to support Palisa, that, okay, Palisa is struggling with this and it will always be a mystery to my bosses to say, oh, maybe something will happen. I'll say, oh yeah, no, I know why. And it'd always be, Nonko, how do you know that about this person?
You engage people as people.
They told me.
Yeah.
So that's how I know why they're acting like that right now. Although it's not, you're not there to solve people's problems.
Yeah.
But at least you can...
Context.
Yes, it gives you context to work with.
Yeah.
One of the most amazing organizations that I joined during my time at Gillette was an organization called African Women Chartered Accountants.
She believes in that organization, guys, with everything in her. She's been pushing.
I do. It's an NPO. It speaks to my core because AWCA was founded by women at the time who realized that, wait a minute, how come there's only 3 of us black female CAs in the country? No, we need to go to schools and create an awareness about the CA qualification. And these women even went as far as starting up a bursary program so that the black girl who wants to be a CA like myself, but the parents cannot afford university tuition, they can pay for her. Yeah. And then support her through the journey.
That mentorship that you spoke
of. The mentorship that I was talking about, up until they become CAs. And over the last, the AWCA now has been around for almost 20 years. We've seen about 200 young girls become CAs through that bursary program. Amazing. So it's a very powerful organization. I got to be the chairperson for KZN for quite a while. Really loved it, enjoyed it. I think for me, the AWCA is just stands for everything that I stand for. Yeah, supporting young girls, creating awareness, then mentor them, and then be there for them so that a young female who starts articles at least knows a Nonku. Yeah. To call me and say, Nonku, please explain to me, or before you go, what I tend to do now when I discover a young girl who's about to start articles, I always say, let's have coffee. Because I want to talk about the little things that I didn't know. Even teach them things like when your manager is around, because it's perception, some of it. When your manager is around, it's important that you are seen to be asking the relevant questions. Yeah. Because that's how they pick up that, that's someone to watch out for. Because managers don't have time. They're just there with you at the client maybe one day out of the 2-week period. So you need to make an appearance whilst they're there. And I didn't know that. And hence I was always just quiet in my corner. And nobody took me seriously, really, at the end of the day. Well, some did, but not everybody. Yeah. So those are some of the things that I do.
So you were sharing about how you would take... CAs on the verge of starting articles, students that are on the verge of starting articles, just to share some tips in terms of how to manage perception and their careers. What are some of the other tips that you can share with any young person, not necessarily in a CA environment, about how to manage their career and show their employers, HR, whoever the decision makers are, that they are present and they want to be seen. Yeah.
I think, okay, one of the things that I want to talk about is that you need to be yourself.
Yeah.
In any environment.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can make the mistake of getting to a workplace and then you try to emulate other people.
Yeah. Play the game.
You try to play the game and fit in. Okay, maybe, yes, you need to learn certain tricks of the game because it is a game at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it mustn't compromise who
you
you really are, who you
Yeah.
are. Just be yourself, firstly, because people respond better to you when you are yourself than when there's this facade of or smoke screen of who Upalisa is, and people can see when you're not being yourself.
Yeah.
So firstly, be yourself. And the one other thing I'll say is we need to be vigilant. For example, if you are in a team or in a meeting, participate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't allow the meeting to come to an end. Go in prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, to understand what this meeting is for, and then ask the relevant questions. But then sometimes it's okay not to have a question or a comment.
Yeah. Don't do it for the
Don't
sake
do
of
now
it,
for the
and then it's
sake of,
inauthentic.
I want them. No, if you don't have a question, you don't have a question. If you don't have a comment, there's no comment.
But try to be engaged.
But be involved. Try to be seen to be involved in it.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is really helpful, yes, in most organizations like Unilever, there's a performance management system which is quite streamlined and all that. But be in a habit of sitting with your manager to say, even before you get to
People reviews.
the reviews, no, just what are your expectations of me?
Yeah.
Be clear about that, because I have found in my own journey that I'll be scared to ask. And then the next thing, we get to the review and I'm hearing this now for the first time. I think, oh my God,
where's this coming from?
If I had known this maybe 2 months ago, I would have done something about it. Because managers are also different. Some managers are quite keen to give you feedback as well before you get to the review, so that you know how you're performing. So I will say, take charge of your development.
Yeah. It's your own career.
Be proactive. Go ask for a meeting to say, I really just want to talk about, these are my KPIs for the year. Help me, navigate how to achieve them, or this is what I'm thinking in terms of achieving them. What do you think? Is there anything you can share with me that will help me to succeed?
Yeah.
It's quite important.
Yeah.
And say, please let me know. Can we have an open and set up meetings to say, can we have a monthly catch up? Because I really don't want to have a surprise in the end.
Yeah.
So that if there's an issue, you know about it upfront and you don't find out in the end. And then it just becomes this ugly thing, or then you have this aversion towards the performance review system. I think that's the other thing. And have fun at work. Enjoy, liaise with the team that you've been given. Enjoy them.
Yeah.
Sometimes let it be your initiative to say, guys, let's go for waffles. I know you guys I hope you still have the waffles station.
Well, we're working from home now.
Yeah,
so.
well, see now. We used to love that. Oh, let's go for waffles, guys. Make sure it's not only about work only. Sometimes you just need to be away for 30 minutes to refresh yourselves and work better. And be sincere, be helpful.
Yeah.
And also I'll say, be visible to the senior team members.
Yeah.
So in your structure, in your language that you'll understand, be known to the FLT.
Yeah.
If they're still called the FLT.
They are.
Don't just be known only by your boss or your line manager.
Yeah, the whole leadership team.
Make sure that they know you. You greet them, hi, so how are you? I am Palisa from whatever. Nice to meet you, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Some of us are shy. Even when there's a social, you're scared to network and go introduce yourself. But I'll just say, pluck up the courage.
Yeah,
anyway.
Pluck up the courage.
Pluck up the courage anyway, and just go and introduce yourself. Don't overdo it. Don't be fake. But just, this is now, for me, playing the game.
Yeah. So you spoke about being visible to your leadership team, establishing a network at work. But of course, being true to yourself. What I had also just mentioned was that I had done a Google I Am Remarkable workshop where they were speaking about how to promote yourself, basically, and speaking to the fact that your work doesn't speak for itself. Other people outside of your line manager need to have an awareness of what's happening in your space, what things you're interested in, if projects come up or opportunities come up, if people know what you've done, the skills that you have, and like what you bring to the table, then you could be offered those opportunities. So just engaging people on pieces of work that you're doing without being weird and like playing a corporate game, of course. So I thought that was quite important to share, just being engaged and like taking charge of your own career and your own journey. So you spoke about also wanting to transition out of finance because you wanted something that was more speaking to the heart
resonated with
and
me more than just spreadsheets. I love spreadsheets, by the way, but I found no fulfillment in them.
Yeah.
So I'm not bashing finance at all. It's a skill that I carried through my whole life.
Yeah.
And it's very beneficial. And I felt that being a CA for me was a launching pad into what God wanted me to do. It wasn't the end.
Yeah.
It was just
a milestone on the journey.
It's a milestone, and I'll share. So when I left Unilever, I went to join a much smaller organization for engineering, and I was the CFO there, and it was quite a holistic experience. I spent a lot of my time with lawyers, more than I did with spreadsheets. I had a very good FM who was a technocrat, and he ran the whole department, whilst I spent time attending. I once even attended a trial in court because this company had some claims and some legal battles with their previous shareholders. So there was a whole lot of legal things to clean up. So I spent a lot of time with lawyers, appreciating how much paperwork they have. Oh my gosh. And I spent a bit of time as well negotiating with the banks to try and get us some facilities. Now looking, at things from more strategically than what I had been used to, which was more operational. Enjoyed it, but it just came to me that I just needed to take a break.
Yeah.
I really felt fatigued by the 13 years post articles. And I remember one day just realizing that I had not had rest from my matric time. I was all apprehensive, wanting to get a bursary. I got a bursary. So when I was in university, the whole worry now was around, I need to keep the bursary.
Yeah.
So the whole time there was just something that was always keeping me on my toes, which was good. Then after that, it was the 3 years of articles, which I have spoken about how intense it was for me. Then from there, yes, it was Transnet. Yes, positive things had happened to me. I had started earning not as much. Not as well as I had been told I would, but I had started, earning well. I could do things for myself. I could do things for my parents, which made me happy. One of the experiences that I gave my parents, they had an opportunity to travel to Brazil for a church thing. So I was able to say, okay, I'll pay for you guys to go. That gave me fulfillment, But I just felt in a space where I just needed time out.
Yeah.
And the one thing I can happily share, in that last year, in that organization, I fell in love. Yes, after quite a while now, waiting for Mr. Right. And I remember how I felt when I turned 35 and there was just nobody. There was just nothing happening. And I thought, okay, Lord, all right, fine. And I started saying things like, for me, it's more important that I fulfill my purpose than just being a married woman.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that, yes, marriage is a calling, but it's not the ultimate in life.
Yeah.
There's so much more to us than being married people.
Yeah.
And it's a pity when one gets married and then they just die and they just don't make any impact. Being a wife is not all that there is to life.
Yeah.
And I still believe in that. So I fell in love with an amazing man. And I knew that this was it for me. And we got married.
Were you a power couple?
We are now. At the time, you
weren't fixating on that.
Yeah, I wasn't. But I was more fixated on, does this person love God? Are they kind? Because having a kind heart goes a long way, especially in a man. And is he progressive? Does he have his own career? That, yes, was high on my list.
Yeah.
He had to have a career, and I had to see that he was progressing. We got married, and it's been, what now? We've known each other for 4 years. So we've been married for 3 years. We got married within 9 months after we met, because with him, when he met me, he knew this is it. This is my wife.
Yeah.
And I also knew that this was it for me. I
Yeah.
knew it.
Yeah.
I had peace about it, and I didn't need to have a vision or a dream or an angel come to tell me at night. No. All the things that
just were
all the
convicted.
gimmicks that the church girls want. No,
Yeah.
I didn't. I just knew that this man has the characteristics of what I want in
Yeah.
a partner.
Yeah.
And I had peace in my spirit. That was very important for me. I was peaceful. And I remember I prayed. I said to God, Lord, I like him.
Yeah.
So please just reveal whatever it is that I need to know about this guy that is hidden. And that was all. And whatever issues, because when you meet at this age, obviously somebody has had a life, and there's baggage, and there's this. So those issues came up, and we were able to deal with them constructively, with love. So meeting my husband for me was a game changer, really. So we had a discussion. He said, okay, Nonku, you can stay home for 3 months. Take a sabbatical for 3 months. And after that, you can go back, look for something. And how I hated being home.
Really?
Yes, I couldn't stand it. In the first week, I sank into some depression. And my husband was like, no, I don't know.
But that's what you wanted.
Yeah, he was like, no, I don't know. I don't know what to do, because you were excited, you were quitting, and now you're home and you're miserable. Because I just thought, is this my life? Then I'm just going to worry about what to cook and clean the whole time. That was not me. Because I've been so used to being on the go.
Yeah.
And 3 weeks in, I remember, so my husband runs his own business. And it's a training business. It's a skills development training business. And I had been impressed by his work ethic and drive in it. So then I said to him, I'm just going to come to the office and help you, because he had a big project, and I could see he was struggling with the stuff that he had. So I said, I'll come and help you, thinking it would just be a 9 to 2 p.m. type of a thing. And I got so involved in it that I'll go home at 10 p.m. There were so many things that we just needed to stabilize. And I realized that, okay, this guy needs me, actually. The one thing I want
Helpmate.
to highlight.
Look at you.
The helpmate, a suitable helper. And the one thing that I realized really worked, to be introduced to clients, because remember, this is a small black business, to say, there's Nonku on the team, she's a CA. It just changed the landscape.
That credibility that
it changed.
We are here, we're qualified.
So this business has grown now, not because of me, but I'll say it was a timing
You played
thing.
your part.
Yeah. It has helped us. We have earned respect now with our key clients to say Nonku's a CA. My husband is also Leonard himself. He's now a PhD candidate at this point. So it's just a wonderful team of 2 people.
Partnership.
Who are trying, yes, to create an empire and leave a legacy for our children. I have, speaking of children, I have a beautiful daughter who's 13 years old. She's my stepdaughter, but I call her my daughter. Very bubbly individual, and we get along quite nicely. She lives with me.
I've seen you taking snaps.
Yes, I get along with her very well. And we were also blessed by a little girl who's just turned 1, Nema. So it's quite a juggle now between this young family, new marriage, because being married for 3 years is quite new, and this business that is so demanding. Yeah, so, and church, because we're quite involved in serving God as well. We met in church, by the way. So we met in Bible school, quite specifically. So it's always hectic. It's always so busy. Some days we don't get it right, but we always just try and
manage
it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That was very interesting. Thank you for gracing this channel with your presence. By the way, guys, now that she's mentioning that her daughter just turned a year old, when I first reached out to her, I think you were just about to give birth, or you had just given
Yes.
birth.
So it was a year ago.
Yes, and then we were like,
Sure.
okay, no, timing's not right, and it also wasn't safe, with like high infection rates with COVID and all of that. And then a year later, we were like, let's make this happen. So I hope that you guys took something from it. It's always a pleasure for me learning from her. And also just seeing how she's progressed in her own journey. If someone is wanting to be powerhouse career woman, or pursue some of the same things, I hope that you got nuggets of wisdom to carry you in your own journey. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.